It was low. It was low, but I don't think it was intentional. And I don't think it was.
Oh, down goes Jacobs on a perfect right hand.
Right on top
and
of
that may be that.
What's going on, you guys? So I haven't did one of these videos in a while, so I figured I'd give you another one. And this time I'm going to talk about Dmitry Pirog. And to be honest with you guys, I didn't know much about Dmitry Pirog, but what I did know is that he knocked out Danny Jacobs and that he was good. Let's learn a little bit more about Dmitry Pirog. Dmitry Yurievich Pirog was born June 27, 1980. Is a Russian politician and a former professional boxer. Yeah, that's right. He's a politician now. In boxing, he competed from 2005 to 2012, and he held the WBO middleweight title from 2010 to 2012. Although his career was cut short due to a debilitating back injury, he is one of the few professional boxers to win a world championship and to retire undefeated. Yeah, that's right. He retired undefeated. A back injury halted his career, or should I say, ended his career. His nickname was the Grand Master. He stood at 6'1" at a 70-inch reach. He is from Russia. 20 wins, 15 knockouts with no losses. And at the age of 8, Pirog was a keen chess player and won some tournaments in the town of Temrik, Russia. However, he soon felt that he was not getting enough activity from chess and decided to seek a sport instead. At his local gym, he discovered boxing and began fighting as an amateur. Having relocated to the city of Krasnodar at the early stages of his amateur career, he didn't have a trainer. That's interesting. So early on, he didn't even have a trainer. He was just in there doing his thing. Instead, he studied carefully VHS tapes. Yeah, do you guys remember that? Of Sugar Ray Leonard and later Floyd Mayweather Jr. Interesting. Very interesting that he studied those guys, and from what we know about the Eastern Europe boxing scene, that they have a really good amateur program, etc., etc., etc. However, he learned how to box from watching Sugar Ray Leonard and Floyd Mayweather Jr. I think those are two good picks, which affected his style heavily. In his amateur career, Pirog claims to have won 200 fights and lost 30, all which prepared him for the professional ranks. Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting indeed. They say it heavily affected his style, and that's why you see him, doing the head movement and things of that nature. Usually the guys from the Eastern Bloc are pretty, they're really good technically, very good technically, good power, but they usually a little stiff side, straight up and down, but not Pirog. Pirog made his professional debut July 29, 2005, scoring a 6-round technical knockout over fellow debutant Sassoon Ogana. On his fourth fight, he defeated Sergey Tatyushevin to become the Russian national middleweight champion. Tatyushevin was an experienced veteran and gave Pirog a tough fight, but Pirog's skills ultimately prevailed and he won a unanimous decision. From late 2007 to early 2010, Pirog won many regional and international middleweight titles from both the WBC and the WBO. So yeah, he was a hot young prospect and he was on his way. Pirog's first world title shot arrived July 31st, 2010 against fellow undefeated prospect Daniel Jacobs. That's the fight I was talking about at the beginning of the video. Danny Jacobs. We all know Danny Jacobs. With the vacant WBO middleweight title on the line, the belt had last belonged to Sergio Martinez, who was, by the way, one of my favorite fighters, who was stripped due to not complying with the WBO's rules. Pirog came in as a relatively unknown contender to American audiences, while Jacobs had the overwhelming backing of his manager Al Heyman and promoters of Golden Boy, as well as a very high knockout percentage. That's right, Danny Jacobs was knocking people out. Danny Jacobs was on his way. He was a destroyer. He was a hot shot amateur. Danny was on his way. Jacobs started the fight well and was ahead by 39-37 on all scorecards by round 4. Yeah, I remember Danny Jacobs was winning that fight. He was well into that fight. He was winning the fight. But, however, Pirog managed to hurt Jacobs with a right hand. And in the 5th round of the fight, Pirog scored a major upset when he knocked Jacobs down with a hard right hand. Jacobs was unable to get back up, and the referee waited off the fight, giving Pirog a knockout win and making him the new WBO middleweight champion. And after the fight, Pirog said, "After the second round, I knew he was hurt. I heard him in the second, and I knew I can get back and do it again." Pirog's exposure to the worldwide audiences grew overnight, as the fight took place on HBO pay-per-view as part of the undercard to Juan Manuel Marquez and Juan Diaz II. However, in his subsequent 2 years as a champion, Pirog only managed to make 3 title defenses, the last which took place on May 1st, 2012. And in this fight, Pirog scored a wide unanimous decision against Nobuhiro Ishida. On August 25th, 2012, Pirog was stripped of his title by the WBO after choosing to fight WBA and IBO middleweight champion Gennady Golovkin instead of WBO interim champion Hassam Endam. Endam been around for a long time. During training for the Golovkin fight, Pirog suffered a serious back injury, a ruptured disc, which forced cancellation of the fight. Several comeback attempts by Pirog to face off Golovkin on HBO pay-per-view main event were thwarted by ongoing back problems, effectively forcing his premature retirement. And that's something I always wondered. How would Golovkin and Pirog fight went? Who would have won that fight? Would Triple G have beat a very, very good Dmitry Pirog? Pirog is a diplomat graduate of the Cuban State University and holds a managerial boxing license. So he's pretty much holds a license to manage fighters. Some of his boxers he has managed include Fedor Papuzov and Vasily Lapunin. I'm sorry if I'm butchering these names. In 2010, Pirog was the vice president of the Professional Box Federation in the South Federal District of Russia. In March 2017, Pirog replaced Alexander Metkin in the State of Duma, the Russian lower house representing the governing party of United Russia. So yeah, his last fight was against Nobuhiro Ishida, and he was stripped of his WBO title from not facing the interim champion Hassam Endam. Then he was going to fight WBA IBO champion Gennady Golovkin. Now I'm not sure if Triple G had this was before they had those super titles and everything, I believe. So he's going to be fighting Triple G back then. I was really curious. I've always been curious as to how that fight would have went. This is a guy who, both guys fought Danny Jacobs, right? Pirog fought Jacobs before he went out with cancer, being diagnosed with cancer. And Triple G fought Jacobs later on. Many feel that Danny Jacobs arguably beat Golovkin. Pirog knocked out Jacobs. So I always wonder how that would have went. I know styles make fights. I know triangle theories don't always work. But yeah, Dmitry Pirog was a hell of a fighter, switch hitter, and today he's a politician. He's a politician and he manages fighters. So he's 41 years old now. Any chances of a comeback is pretty much over with. Back injuries are serious business. So yeah, that's the video, you guys. I hope you like it. Dmitry Pirog, man. I always wonder how things would have been if he was still around. Like, subscribe, holla at your boy. Peace out.